Hey there, welcome to Rise Up Namibia. In this video, we're going to be looking at some composite functions. Now I am your host, Metyanata aka the resistor of bad and the lover of good, hashtag dark and lovely _ walk by faith and not by sight. So, what do we mean when we talk about composite functions? Now, composite functions are basically a function within another function. Okay? So if you don't understand that, don't worry, we will get into examples that will enlighten your understanding. So here we have, given f of x equals to 2x minus 1 and g of x equals to 3x, find, then we have a f, a g, and then inside the bracket negative 3, and also g and a f, and then inside the bracket negative 3. Okay, so how do we find this? Now, let's quickly rewrite this one. Okay, so first we'll do this one and then we'll do the other one. Okay, now when we work with composite functions, if you have more than one letter here, what you need to do is, or what you need to know is that we always start with the letter on your right hand side. Okay, so which letter is on our right hand side here? It's the G. Okay, so we start with that letter. Now mind you, in these examples we only have 2 letters, but it can be more than 2 letters. Say for example you have 3 letters here. Always remember to start with the letter on your right. So the F is on our left, but we start with the what? The letter on our right, which is a G. Okay, now when you start with the letter on your right, treat it like what we did in the first video, which was part 1. Functions part 1. Okay, so if you have a G and then negative 3 inside the bracket, what you do is you write down the function. Okay, g of x. What is g of x? Now g of x is equals to 3x from here. So what you do is wherever you see an x, you write that negative 3. Okay, then from there we just solve. What is 3 multiplied by negative 3? That will be negative 9. Okay, now once you are done here, now we can move on to the next letter. Okay, so again moving from the right, now we go to the left, we have a f. So now what is the function for f? That function is f of x equals to 2x minus 1. So we write that down. Now wherever we see a x, what do you think we write there? We write there negative 9. So this negative 9, we write it wherever we see x. Okay, so let's do just that. Then from there we solve. What is 2 multiplied by negative 9 minus 1? So that will be negative 19. Okay, and that's basically your final answer. Easy, isn't it? Let's take a look at this one. Okay, now before we look at that one, how do you find the videos on this channel? Are they helpful? If yes, please do support the channel by giving us a huge thumbs up and by subscribing. Okay, now with that said, let's take a look at this example. How do we solve for this one? Now remember what we said here. We always start with the letter on the right hand side. Now here the letter on the right was G, but in this example here, the letter on the right is F. So let's start with that F. So we write down the function f of x, and then wherever we see a x, we write negative 3. Okay, and then we solve. What is 2 multiplied by negative 3 minus 1? That will be negative 7. Okay, so from there we can now move on to the next letter, which is this G. So let's write down the function g of x equals to 3x. Okay, now wherever we see a x, we write down the answer, okay, we got here, which was negative 7. Just like that. Okay, now we say 3 multiplied by negative 7 will give you what? Will give you negative 21. So what we are doing here is what we did in functions part 1. Okay? If you don't understand what is going on here, just go check functions part 1. Then you can check part 2, which is the inverse functions. And then we are now in part 3, which is the composite functions. Basically, this is our final answer for this one as well. Easy, isn't it? Let's take a look at another example. Now in this example, we have an x here. Or rather, let me ask you to pause the video and try doing it on your own before I explain it. Then you can check where you went wrong, okay? So pause the video now. Okay, so let's find this one first. Now remember, we always start from the right, okay, with the letter on the right, which is this G. Now you ask yourself, if in the brackets, if you always see that there is an X in the bracket when you write your function, now the question will be, what will you put in the place of X? In this case, we don't put anything because there's an X here. So we just write the function the way it is, g of x, okay? So g of x is 2x squared minus 8. So we just write it down the same way it is. And then we are done already with the first letter, okay? So we move on to the second letter. So this second letter now, we write its function down, which is f of x equals to negative 3x plus 7. We write it down here. And then now, wherever we see x, we plug in this whole expression, okay? So this whole expression, we plug it into x. Let's do just that. And then from here, we solve. What is negative 3 multiplied by 2x squared? And then negative 3 multiplied by negative 8 again. So if you check that out, negative 3 multiplied by 2x squared will give you negative 6x squared. And then negative 3 multiplied by negative 8 will give you positive 28. Because this is a negative and a negative, it will give you a positive. Okay, and then you will have plus 7 here. So basically, your final answer will be negative 6x squared plus 31. Okay? And just like that, this is your final answer. Let's take a look at the one with GF and then the X in the bracket. How do we solve this one? It's basically the same method. Which letter is on the right hand side? Because we always start on the right. We have a F. Okay? So what is f of x? F of x, you just write down the function. To say f of x equals to negative 3x plus 7. Okay? Now, since you've written down that function, let's move on to g. And then you write down the function again. To say g of x is equals to 2x squared minus 8. Now, you check wherever there is x, you plug in this expression. Okay? So let's do just that. Now then you ask yourself, look, remember here, before you plugged in this expression, it was x squared, meaning this x was squared. So when you plugged in the expression, always put it into brackets and then you put the square there. Okay? So what does this square mean? This square means this bracket is multiplied by itself 2 times. So you can cancel that 2 and just put 2 brackets that are the same here. Okay? Then after that, you can multiply those brackets out by saying negative 3x multiplied by negative 3x, and then negative 3x multiplied by positive 7, and then 7 multiplied by negative 3x, 7 multiplied by 7. So what will your answer be? This will be your answer within the bracket. Okay? Once you get this answer, Basically now you take these 2 and then you multiply it by everything within the bracket, because the 2 and everything in the bracket is multiplied. Okay? So once you multiply them, you get something like this, because 2 multiplied by 9 will give you 18x squared, and then 2 multiplied by negative 21 will give you negative 42x. 2 multiplied by negative 21x again will give you negative 42x, and then 2 multiplied by positive 49 will give you positive 98. So basically this negative 8 just comes down. Okay? Now if you check at this expression, there is what? There is like terms. So these 2 are like terms. These constants are also like terms. This x, 18x squared, just comes down, and then you ask yourself, what is negative 42x minus 42x? That will give you 84x. And then what is positive 98 minus 8? That will give you 90. And that's your final answer. Okay? So thank you very much for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe, turn on the notification button to be the first to see the next upload. Share with friends, family, and classmates. And remember, together we rise to higher heights, apart we all stay behind. Cheers.